gather in support and recognition, really, of the organizations that received funding from this last round of community benefits, South Boston-based community benefits from various BPDA projects throughout the neighborhood. I think it was 4, maybe 5 in total that made up this lump sum. Everything from a big hotel that gave a good chunk of this to smaller residential projects that had 20 grand, 30 grand, etc. The vast majority of those that applied did receive funding. Matter of fact, the few that didn't, they were still good quality applicants. They just didn't meet the criteria of primarily serving or using the funds for the South Boston community. And so there's obviously benefits that go far and wide to development. There's new tax revenue, there's linkage dollars, etc. Those monies go to the general fund and they're spread out as our elected leaders see fit. But community benefits money like this, we definitely want to make sure it stays local. It's designed, we at the BPDA certainly see the value in development. Our job is to go around and talk about the positive economic value that development and growth can bring. But we acknowledge and we're not blind to the fact that it creates unintended challenges and consequences. Some of those could be on the physical level, think traffic implications, affordability, etc. Affordability kind of bleeds into both. What I was going to say was there are also social implications to that. Things like gentrification, etc. And the stress that puts on families. And I know some of the nonprofits in the room and some that got funding that aren't in the room today, really fill in that gap where government cannot. So it's my way of just saying and acknowledging, I think it's important that we as an agency and as a city continue to lean on private development for both of those needed when they're putting stress on our physical infrastructure. It's important that we say to them, hey, you need to do your fair share to chip in. And when there are negative, unintended consequences that put stress on our social infrastructure, I think it's critically important that they give there as well. So I say that because it's a constant push and pull, right? And the advocacy around making sure that developers are chipping in for the physical attributes is strong. And I always want to remind when I have nonprofit, I cut my teeth in the Southie nonprofit world, that I'm still an active member. And so I want to use this as an opportunity to remind, continue your advocacy when you're talking to your elected officials. Remind them of how important this funding is. I know how difficult it is to sing for your supper every day. No pun intended to the children's chorus. But it's just in the nonprofit world, it's different, right? We all know it, right? We're constantly trying to find that next dollar or that next contribution that can keep the important services. And the services, without exception, are critically important. Children's chorus, we have the Library Center that provides services for, again, those that are most vulnerable. Most of the organizations that got funding, and most of the organizations in the nonprofit world, serve those that are most vulnerable, right? And so in times, we want to make sure that we're supporting our nonprofits as well. There are some physical things that are getting improvements through this. I think of like No Man's Land, Spoke / Medicine Wheel, which I am an active board member, and therefore did not take part in any of the review. Got funding to finish No Man's Land and put an iron fence. We got funding for Fourth Presbyterian Church for their feeding program, where they do hot meals as well as bag lunches, etc. There's a few other organizations. The feeding requests we've got at these distributions, not just from Southie, continues to go up. So again, that's enough for me. I want to use this opportunity to thank you for the work that you continue to do. There's Burns right there. Burns Stanfield at Fourth Presbyterian. I didn't know that was going to happen, see? So with that, again, particularly with the representative's tight timeline, it would be really nice afterwards if anyone who's here on behalf of an organization is comfortable talking a little bit about what the money you have granted is going to be used for. That's great. Keep in mind you may be quoted by our local press, but this is a press event after all. So with that, I'll kick it over to our esteemed Representative David Biele, because I know he'd love to acknowledge your great work, and he's got a tight schedule to get to. So, Representative.
Good morning, everyone. Today's a great day. It's always a nice day when when checks are being given out symbolically, especially big ones. But just to pick up on what Mark said, we're here today to really talk about community benefits that are coming into our neighborhood. And Mark alluded to it, and it couldn't be more true. You look at South Boston, and everybody thinks of the economic engine that could be the waterfront or the convention center or Flint Cruiseport, and all the money that's coming in. the jobs that are being created. But if you go just down the street, you have 3 of the largest public housing developments in the city of Boston. You know, so we really do have wide socioeconomic spectrum here in this district. And what the community benefits program does through the BPDA is make sure that we're meeting the needs that you're serving amongst the most vulnerable, as we have that dichotomy in our neighborhood. But it's also a starting point for conversations to start relationships with folks who are coming in to make sure that they're invested in our community, you know, that they're being good neighbors. So congratulations, thank you for all the important work that you do to take care of the most vulnerable in our community. I know how hard you work each and every day, and proud to be with you today to celebrate and advocate for you every day at the State House. So thank you for all your good work.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge our other elected officials, Councilor Flynn. That's right, I cut it into your round of applause. Councilor Flynn was already here. He had another appointment he had to get to. Might even be the same one, but he popped in quickly to send his best, as well as other elected officials. I think why don't we go a little out of order? Normally we'd kick it over and ask you to say a few words, but why don't we do the picture next, because I want to make sure to get Representative Biele in that photo op, and then we can have some coffee, some pastries, and talk about where the money's headed. Do you want to take the picture?
Yeah, okay.
Right over this way. I figured whatever makes. Well, you tell us, Rick. Is this the right lighting, or what should we do?
Fine, no problem. Don't worry about the lighting.
All right. Come on in, everybody.
Okay. If you kind of stand, I know that this is a bit artificial, but if you wouldn't mind standing 45 degrees and then just look at the camera with your face, just so you can squeeze a little bit together. It's not like the usual community group in a photograph, let me put it that way. You want to get in on that, Joe? No? Okay. And don't worry too much about this, because I'm strictly an amateur photographer still. And
We'll have natural smiles with Rick's commentary.
You have to call us all beautiful, and then we'll smile.
one more time, if you wouldn't mind just looking my way casually, don't worry about it. I won't be publishing this in a magazine or anything. Thank you.
We will be, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me know if Hollywood calls in here. There's an article on you.
Here we go.
Well, thank you again, Representative. Thanks for all your continued support. I know you're going to run. And folks, please help yourself. This is definitely very informal. And just like I said, if folks are comfortable talking a little bit about, all the funds have been distributed, so we obviously wouldn't ask you to do that until the check was here. Ready to go, right?
I just want to say thank you, everyone, really for all that you do. This is what makes our community a great place it is. Thank you to the BPDA for being partners and making sure that dollars that are being generated here in the neighborhood stay here in the neighborhood when it comes to the community benefits. So thank you, everyone. Have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you around the neighborhood.
Thank you. Yes. It's always been my dream to get a big check.
How you doing, Bert? Very good, very good. We got the pastries and everything from Olga's, so it's some good local fare. Yep.
When did they, because I know they've changed over a couple times, owners, when did it oh, this?
You know what? The past few years, you know when Olga's opened up over there?
When what opened up?
Olga's Cafe.
Oh,
Hey, Aaron, what's up, buddy?
oh boy. It's been a few years.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 years.
Since West opened.
Yep.
So I think it's a former student of mine.
It's what?
Olga.
I think a former student of mine, yeah.
Olga is?
When I was at Notre Dame Education.
Oh, yeah.
Notre Dame Education Center, well, the development that was built in that location was one of the ones that contributed towards this, like 20,000, yeah. All right, I can speak, like I said, I already mentioned, one, I'll speak for them because I'm on their board. Spoke of Medicine Wheel, up behind Southie High, between Southie High and Dorchester Heights, there's a sliver of land called No Man's Land. For those that have been around the neighborhood a long time know it's been an area where people go and hang out and teenagers would, do what teenagers do back there. But over the years, Medicine Wheel, which has then turned to Spoke, has become a steward of the land, so much so that they now have a signed agreement with the Boston Parks Department that owns it, that they are the official steward of the land. They've invested, I don't know if there's even a dollar amount. There is a dollar amount, I just don't know it. But over the years, really a lot of sweat equity with young children employed by Medicine Wheel as well as the staff. A lot of artwork, public artwork. The one I really love is there's a little bird bath that has been there for probably 15 years now. And it's when the sun shines on it just right, it looks beautiful. It's kind of stone, and then it's made out of these beautiful pieces of green glass. And the story behind that green glass is that green glass was picked up off the ground from that same location because it smashed beer bottles from a lot of the teenagers that were back there drinking beers, etc. And it also was made by some of those same teenagers, because that's something that Medicine Wheel, it's an art-based nonprofit, do a lot in the recovery space and things of that nature, but I wish Michael Dowling, my good friend, was here, or some of the other staff that can speak to it even better than I can. But that's really the goal of Medicine Wheel. It's an art-based nonprofit, working particularly, not just young people, but that's how I got to know them with my past and youth work. And so No Man's Land, if you haven't seen it, take a walk up there someday, behind Southie High. There's poetry written into the ground. There's all landscaped areas. It's all been done by the hands of young people from the city of Boston and beyond, because not every kid at Medicine Wheel is a Boston kid, but most are. So that's, and the funding specifically was $20,000 to put an iron fence, because those that have seen it, there's a retaining wall back there. And so it's not exactly the safest place to be walking, and so we've got walkways, and at some points it's a good 12-foot drop. And so this $20,000 will build a nice decorative wrought iron fence that will really complete it, but also make it much safer. So that's one of the things, one of the organizations that received funding in this round that I can speak to. Anyone else want to talk about what they might be doing with it?
I will. I hate to follow you, and I hate to follow my boss, but she's not here. Both of you speak so well, and I usually get a little jammed up. But I'm from the South Boston Neighborhood House, for those of you that don't know me. I got the last-minute call to take this gig.
Take this over from Kathy. Yeah.
Always happy to come to Julie's, first of all, but to see all of you. Our funding came for our diaper depot, which is, many of you know about it, but it's a free diapers and wipes event that we do twice a month for anybody who registers. They don't need to do anything in particular to qualify. It's just they need them and they come. And so we have volunteers and staff people. We have a shipping container down in the back of our preschool, our UPK preschool down in Moatley Park. And we open it up twice a month, and people can come and get, basically a month's supply of diapers and wipes for their families. And one of the things that we just did recently, we probably do about $5,000 worth of diapers every month. And so we're constantly, obviously, fundraising for that need. The need continues to rise. It's right up there with the food insecurity in many ways, because people put off buying diapers for their kids because there's something that's more pressing, like food, or transportation, or something that, many other needs for the whole family. But one of the things that Kathy Lafferty did, she was on the National Diaper Depot website, which is where we order often. We can order in bulk. And all the guys, by the way, from Gavin House are the ones that come down and help us unload the pallets of diapers that get delivered every month, because it's quite an operation. But they have it done just like that and loaded into the shipping container. Where's I going with that? Come on, Mare, circle back. I lost it. Oh, she went when she was on the National Registry. They had a survey on there, and she took all of the questions, because they were for participants, asking what their need was, what they were substituting if they didn't have enough money, like how often did they have to send their kids out without sufficient, or how often did they stay home, how often did they give up food or something else in order to do this, or to buy diapers and supplies. And she took all the questions, because she's really good at that stuff. And Erin and Marilyn from the Neighborhood House put it into a survey for our people. We sent it out, and within 24, 36 hours, which is a much better rate than we get on any other kind of survey, we had about 90 people. We probably have about 600 families registered, not that everyone comes every month. About 90 people came back and answered all the anonymous questions in the survey. And we were all standing around because of course on a Google survey you get all the graphs, and it's just wonderful that we could use those. We were already planning where we're going to send it, who we're going to give it to, who we want to show it to, but we couldn't even speak when you read the things that people would say about how hard it was to fill that need and how hard it was on their children and how grateful they were. And so we're just very grateful to have this funding from the BPDA.
Thank you. We're grateful for the work you're doing.
Well, it's never ends, does it?
I'll say something. I'm from South Boston Neighborhood Development Corporation. Our main focus is affordable housing, creating and preserving. So we got the grant for our West 4th senior affordable housing to make safety upgrades in the building. Hasn't had much done in a while, so we've done new flooring, new furniture in the common rooms, a new intercom system to help our seniors feel more safe and loved.
I'll follow on Ginger. We're around the corner from each
Yep.
other, and Library also chose to request this funding for seniors. And we worked with the BHA Senior Housing West 9H and L Street. And L Street was having a lot of work done, which is bringing it back up to a population of over 400. And what we see, and what Paul Brown, who is the person who manages that program, sees, is a lot. Overall, he helps everyone access resources. They go to St. Monica's Food Pantry and have food delivered, this kind of thing. But he's also seeing, like everyone else is talking about, excessive need during these times, and sometimes trouble making ends meet for food. A lot of these seniors do not have family, and Paul and the people who work with him and our volunteers and board step in to try and fill that void sometimes. So we requested for food gift cards, purchasing necessities, that kind of thing. And what Paul really tries to focus on there is quality of life, as well as what he has talked to us about in recent months, which is quality of end of life, which is hard for a lot of people who don't have family, who live in those places. So we requested funding to try and help cover expenses of all kinds that can't be met by the people in those 3 BHA residences.
Thank you.
So the money is greatly appreciated.
Would love to go next. Hi, my name is Robert McFletcher-Jones. I'm the conductor of in-school programs with Boston Children's Chorus. We're grateful, so grateful for the funding, how we are utilizing it. We get the opportunity to serve 60 students at Oliver Hazard Airy School who would not have music programming that we get to supplement and be there for them. Also, we are, speaking of accessibility, we come to them every single week, and we've had the opportunity, I think about students like Emma and Lydia, who are sometimes afraid to open their mouth, but now are singing solos at their concert on May 29th. I also think about the fact that they sing our representatives. They had the opportunity to perform at the State House over the holidays, and also meet the Secretary of State, which was such an honor and a privilege, and to sing for their families. And on May 29th, they will actually have a full concert inside of their school for their families. One of the pieces that they're doing is by Carlos Cordero. The piece is called Vuela, and they had the opportunity, the composer is living. He lives in Texas. And he's Venezuelan. They had the opportunity to actually meet that composer and work with them on the song and actually create their own music. And so our goal is to create high quality level music programs and ensembles inside of your school system. So we thank you for the opportunity and the funding, because they are next, and we're excited to be with them.
It's exciting to meet everyone in this room too, because I feel like it opens up other possibilities for collaboration. Like, could the kids be singing for the seniors?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, this is Maria.
Oh, sorry, I'm Maria from Boston Children's Chorus, and also the other thing that we're excited to just share while we're meeting all of you is it's gone so well with the support from the BPDA this year in our first year at the Perry that they've actually asked us to stay for the next 3 years.
Wow.
And
All right.
continue to offer the program, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
And let's all exchange information so we can all sit together.
Yes.
Can I piggyback on that? First of all, I need to know what time the concert is.
Yeah.
Yes, 10 a.m. Please come. 10 a.m.
I've been there for the trombone concert.
Yeah, oh yeah, come on.
There's a lot of my kids in the theater programs at church are Perry kids. And
Yes.
Here's some kids, and I know you came to our final pieces.
Which was fabulous.
But you guys have helped us with something that is not with that, which I'm very, very grateful. I mean, people know we do shows, but we also just try to feed people through the music. We've had a food pantry for a long, long, long time. During COVID, we started serving hot meals because it was COVID, you know, and to go, of course. And even as that particular option was option need, whatever you want to say, that was diminishing, but we saw there actually was plenty of need, and that there were folks, I mean, we were not just attracting the families whose kids had been in school, we were attracting a number of folks, seniors, unhoused people, folks who need food. So it's pretty basic, and this is making it possible for us to keep serving up meals. We do it 3 days a week, and so thank you. We're still going to do the shows, too.
Yes.
Everything else. Next show is called All-Star Review, June 14th and 15th, blah, blah, blah. But thank you for helping us speak.
Thank you.
I'm happy to, I think, wrap this up as far as, I'm Chris Wade, Writing and Development Associate here at Julie's learning program. Our Executive Director, Michelle Cruz-Riley, wasn't able to come, but I know that she welcomes you, and we're so glad to have you in our space and see the program. I have only been here a year, and I just tell you, like, not only do I love this work, but I love being here with you and just hearing the good work that everyone is doing. It's so inspiring, and it just gives me a lot of hope. At Julie's, we have 3 main programs. So we started as a program that does family development, education it started as young mothers, it's also young parents, and we also offer early childhood services for their kiddos. We have all of that in this building. We just got accepted as UPK site, so we're going to be having kids from the community join as well, and create bigger classrooms and sort of more social learning experiences. And then we also have adult basic education that Anna can tell you a little bit about that is amazing and utilizes this space on the 3rd floor. Anyone 16 and over who's looking for classes towards getting their high school equivalency. I think, I can't speak for everyone, but I think what I hear a lot is that for our students, it's about getting a second chance. It's about being able to find the support they need to, one, identify what their goals are, to dream bigger than they thought they could, and then to reach their goals. And so the funding that we requested and are so incredibly grateful to receive is helping us with our wraparound support services. No one can access their education and learn if they don't have food, if they don't have emergency support. I can't tell you how many times we have someone who says, I just can't pay this bill this month, and I'm waiting for sort of supplemental support to come through, and we're able to help with that on an as-needed basis. This support also helped us with our workforce development, so that people who are ready to take the next steps and learn about training opportunities and learning about going to college, and that they can get all the support they need to do that. And then we also have a family advocate on staff, and she meets with people and she helps them identify where there are programs like the diaper, but where there are things where they can access services that they might not have known about. I think Julie's is just really special for creating a sense of a family and a sense where people can be accepted for who they are and where they're at and dream bigger than they thought they could. So we're so grateful and so nice to have you in this space.
Thank you, and thank you for hosting, most importantly. And thank you all for coming. I know this is the beginning of a holiday weekend. Full disclosure, when I was scheduling this, I was joking with someone in the elevator about scheduling this, and we do a lot of events at the BPDA. Most of them aren't this fun, to be honest. A lot of them development review meetings. It is true, we have more meetings than there are days in a year. And so I remember seeing some openings here, and I said, oh, great, Friday morning, this looks great. And then a few weeks later, when I realized the day, I said, now I understand why folks had some openings. So I do want to thank you for coming. I know this is not the easiest time to pull yourself out and join us for this celebration. So I want to acknowledge that and just say thank you. So thanks for coming out. If folks have to, I know folks are running busy programs. Aaron?
Yeah, let me
And I'm
just-
sorry, Aaron. Aaron is our
Aaron
Director of
Dahlquist,
Compliance at
I'm
the
the chair of the
BPDA.
committee, and I'm the one who was nagging you all for your signatures and whatnot on the grant agreement. So it's wonderful to be here. I can't believe it's taken this long for me to come to Julie's. I've been involved with this process with grant funding rounds at the agency, either sitting on the committee or now chairing it for the last couple of years, going back to when we piloted this program in 2015 with funding from what was called the D Street development. You know, so much insane amount of development activity in the Seaport area, as we call it today. But when we created this program, the intent, and I think that we've been successful, was born out of the first term under Mayor Walsh, was, you know, revisiting how community benefits and funds for nonprofits were designated under Mayor Menino. We were like looking under the hood, and you know, if we're being asked by a layperson, you know, how was it that organization received funding or always seems to receive funding? And there was never a good answer, at least just if you were somebody who knew nothing about this, like it just doesn't seem fair, okay? So our intent was to stand up a process that was as transparent as possible, to the point where, you know, if somebody wanted to request, you know, the applications themselves and see what the programming was and the budgets, and if they have a board and then they're in good standing, all the things that I asked of you as part of the application process, that's where that all comes from. Because we want everybody to understand that this is above board, the fix is not in, and the need is obviously urgent. And I think in that first round we did in 2015 was the first time I read an application from Julie's family benefit. And I think that we did partially fund back then, if it wasn't that round, a subsequent one here in South Boston. But it gives me an enormous sense of pride that you're all here and you're all sharing these stories. We recently had a funding round not unlike this one that we did in Dorchester, and the same sort of, I could see the same sort of like networking effect or multiplier effect, where everybody starts to see, oh, who they are and put a face to the name, and maybe we could see how our program dovetails. Maybe you can accomplish some sort of like economies of scale in that regard, to make these dollars stretch further. In terms of criteria and how we make our decisions about who gets funding, who doesn't, you know, I think we selected, 24 grantees from this round?
The vast majority, yeah. I don't know. I think it was 21. I think it was 21 out of 24.
21 out, okay.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you know, when we're going through these applications and we're scoring them on very predictable criteria, what it really comes down to, in my experience, and I think it resounds with everybody else who sits on this committee, which is rotating membership. It's not always the same people.
Yep.
Urgency of need is paramount. And I think that from hearing each other talk about right now, you know, the need is not only apparent, but it's immediate, and we would like to mitigate it and address it as soon as possible. Of course, with all the process that goes into this, where, you know, you have the time in which you respond to this, and then we make our decisions, and I go to the board, and then we work with our lawyers. The need is urgent. I wish it was quicker. Process is what it is. So on top of need and urgency is also a variety of different programming, right? So what you're doing at the Ollie, or what you're doing at the Chorus, or the Development Corporation, or the Health Center, like if you look at all the different grantees, we're not checking boxes, but we are trying to serve young people. We are trying to serve seniors. We're trying to serve people who don't have enough to eat, who are having a tough time with substance abuse and are in recovery. All the things that, if you're familiar with the South Boston that you all live and breathe every day, as opposed to the South Boston that's in like real estate marketing materials, that's what we're trying to address through this process. The money that went to this was obviously from several different development projects. My thinking around it was some of the contributions from the developers range from like 20,000, like Mark was saying, or from other projects where I wasn't going to take $20,000 and put that out for an RFP or a response. It just doesn't scale. I wanted to make sure we cobbled enough money together so that when we would put it out, then we could give out grants, if possible, in the tens of thousands of dollars, right? Also, always, wishing that we had more, we could fully fund every grant application. But like I said, at the end of the day, this is a need that unfortunately is persistent. All the programming and all the wants that you're all trying to kind of like satiate. I wish, looking back to 2015, I could look at South Boston or any other Boston neighborhood and say, oh, well, mission accomplished. Everybody's taken care of, but this is the human condition, and we always need to be aware. And in our little part, running this committee and being able to put these funds to work throughout the city in the different impacted neighborhoods where these developments occur, I just hope that everybody understands that, it's not all bad coming from development. A lot of good does come from it, and this program, I think, is a testament to that. I'm hopeful that by the end of the year, I'll be able to do another round. We
Say, any more coming, Aaron?
Yeah, I know how this goes. I believe that we still have money from the Commonwealth Pier project. So that will be the next round that I do for South Boston. In the meantime, I still need to do one for the Fenway and I believe one other neighborhood. But, we will definitely be back in touch with all of you the next time we put out an announcement for applications. We obviously have all of your contact information, and I look forward to seeing how all this funding is deployed and hearing some good news stories. So thank you very much.
Thank you.